what we say.
These are opinions.
Yeah,
and
everyone's
experience.
Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got them.
Yes.
Most of
yes,
them stink.
and you can swear.
And everyone stinks
good.
except mine.
This is not G-rated.
Well, I mean, we're all recovering addicts.
I'm a recovering heroin addict. My name's Chris Mandeville. I hope everyone had a good New Year, safe.
It's a new decade, everybody.
Yes, it's 2020. It's the decade
2020s.
of perfect vision, right? Clear
There you
vision.
go. Clear vision.
2020.
I love it.
Clear vision. I didn't get any
Okay.
clear vision until I got here. That's for sure.
Thank God, because I just lost my health insurance, so I need it.
Right? Anyone help Vince out with some glasses?
That'd be great.
All right. So our guest. Oh, you can find us at LOLTerms.com.
Please subscribe.
Yes, like, share, subscribe. Share this. Share it now. There's a little button in the corner you can hit share.
Yes, please.
We're here at a New Way Recovery Center in Quincy, Mass, on Quincy Ave. Lots of awesome resources over here. Right now, there's a women's nurturing meeting going on.
Great people.
They cook dinner. There's recovery coaching here. There's drum circles. There's all kinds of stuff here. Great people. And they let us use this facility, and they have for 2 years now.
2 years. Going into our third year.
To bring you guys this podcast. And we're very grateful for that.
Yeah.
So, I was at a Alcathon yesterday, and I heard Vince share, and I was like, right after the thing, I was like, dude, what are you doing tomorrow? Are you okay with speaking publicly? Like, and here he is.
Met him yesterday, and here he is.
I'm always nervous, but
Yeah.
it's just like that's just.
But it's only us.
Well,
Yeah,
and
you'll
it's
see.
like I'm nervous anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be sitting.
So
in my
he's
room.
gonna share his experience with
myself.
us.
That's, you can see, we plan way ahead.
Yeah.
He was
At
here.
least-
He met him yesterday.
at least-
He's here tonight.
At least 15 hours.
Yes,
ahead.
exactly.
I mean, that's a long time.
Yep.
That's a long time. So just
God
go for it.
provides.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let her
All right.
rip, tater chip.
All right. I'm Vince. I'm an alcoholic. I've been sober since the end of June 2004. And it's funny when I say that date because I actually didn't. It took me a while to actually remember the date. I was pretty fogged out
Yeah.
for a while. I was fogged out for a good few months. I mean, and I know that because it took me a few months to even raise my hand to ask for help. And I'm glad I did. And I've had a lot of help along the way. And the guy that I asked for help, he helped me. We couldn't figure out what the first day was, so he just said, we're just going to give you July 4th. And I was like, all right. Well,
Yeah, pick a day.
yeah, exactly. I just worked my way around there, and I was like, oh yeah, it was this day. So, but yeah, I just, I'm just grateful. Thanks guys for having me here, and thanks for Chris for just
absolutely.
asking me to participate. And I just, it's funny. It's like speaking
Thanks for
public.
coming.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. And yeah, it's like like I was sharing. It's like I'm nervous at the drop of a hat. It doesn't really matter if I'm speaking publicly or not. It's just how I am. I'm just a nervous type. I've always been really overly sensitive, and it sounds like a judgment. And when I share this, it's not a judgment of myself. It's just how I am. But the world can see it, or at least I think the world sees it a certain way. And being recovered, from alcoholism, which is not permanent by any stretch of the imagination. Although I haven't had a drink in 15 and a half years, I've needed the steps, which we talked about yesterday, to stay that way. And
Absolutely.
I needed them every day, So because I'm still this day, it's like I'm still sensitive, overreactive, nervous, easily rattled. I've gotten past a lot of the blame of like how it was, and this caused it.
Do you think that what do you think caused that? Do you ever think that's nature and nurture? Do you think you were like that as a tiny child? Mm-hmm. Extra sensitive?
Yeah, it's taken this long to like really have like a clear head about it. But along the way, in staying sober, I found out that the majority of it is just my nature. It's and
yeah.
and I mean,
and that's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the you know the funny thing is the real, you know, the last time I was in Massachusetts, which was a number of years ago. I've been here before. I was in a deep depression, and
this is sober.
sober.
Yeah.
Sober, depressed. Kept doing the steps, kept going to meetings, but I was like really flat out depressed, and but I was staying with my aunt at the time. I was really disconnected from everybody and everything, but I was still connected with recovery, and I found this picture of me in a high chair sitting in between my two parents with a beer bottle like this
In a
and,
high
like,
chair.
in a high chair,
yeah.
like in diapers.
An
So you're-
empty beer bottle.
What?
An empty beer bottle?
No, it had beer in it.
I see.
And
and
so-
if it didn't, if
So
it
you
didn't,
think-
it was.
You
I was
think about
looking
your
for
first
it.
drink, and then you
Yeah.
come across this picture. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I was fucked from the start.
Yeah, basically, it's
you
like
know?
I've always been
Yeah.
seeking. You know, it's just like I've always been. I mean, everyone's seeking a solution to make them happy, right?
Right,
It's
right.
it's just human. That's human nature. But like, I mean, that sensation of alcohol, even just smelling it, which is why personally I don't like being around it. I don't like going to bars.
Mm.
You know, we were talking about music before. I don't even. You know, I'll play, but like, if I play music, it's like I'll show up, I'll set up my gear, I'll go outside, drink some water, take some inventory, meditate, go back in, and when it's playtime, it's playtime. And then
Yeah.
when the show's over, it's like I grab my amp, my gear, I'm like, all right, guys, I'll see you at rehearsal, and I'm out of there. You know,
Yeah.
it's just how I am. That's not how everybody is.
Right, and that's, I mean, if that's how
Yeah.
you feel, that's
Yeah.
you can do whatever you want around here.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Some people feel comfortable there. For me, it doesn't really bother me to be around alcohol.
Yeah.
I think it's hilarious. I watch the people change.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
see the profound personality
Yeah.
change. Like, we might
Oh,
have
yeah.
a seat for that one. We
No,
might have a seat
that
for
that
that one.
definitely doesn't look good to me. However,
Right.
you know, I'm not going to sit and say that I'm better than, because I bet if I was like watching all these people enjoying getting high on dope,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know what I mean, sitting
Yeah.
around and everybody's shooting
Yeah.
dope, I'm not going to be hanging out there
Right,
and being
I-
like, yeah, this is
exactly.
great. You guys
Yeah.
are funny looking.
Yeah.
No, I'm out of there. Like, as soon
I
as
hear you.
anything comes out, it's like, see you later.
Well, yeah,
Which I
'cause it's like,
understand.
yeah, with like the last big concert I went to, which I think was Slayer. You know, I was glad we were
Yeah.
in the very last row,
Right.
because we were just like, all right, show's over, see you later.
Right.
But yeah. So just like that experience, you know, and it's when I saw that picture, I was like, if that was a good question, I was like, even if there wasn't beer in that bottle, just the sensation and the action and the smell of it was probably enough. Like, this is where I want to be. And, you know, and so that was it, man. And so it's just like, I just have a heightened awareness of that. And, but really, like, you know, like I was talking about, like, just as a sensitive kid, just have a hard time getting along. Like, I wasn't stupid, you know, I wasn't stupid, but I was always, and I wasn't getting in trouble, like, you know, like bad trouble, but I was just always like fucking up, you know. I was always fucking up.
See, for me, that was my first addiction, was attention.
Yeah.
And I didn't care if it was good or bad.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, like I shared yesterday, there was a bit of abandonment in my story.
Yeah.
So there wasn't. Mom had to work. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Dad moved on and did what he does, and like there was no one to like, hey, look at me, look at me.
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
would
yeah.
do shit to make people look at me, look at me.
Oh yeah,
You know, and-
absolutely.
And,
So
and it usually wasn't something good.
Yeah, yeah, and even if when it was, because I remember like one time I was like in first grade and at this Catholic school, and I just finished. Before that, I'd spent a year in Montessori school.
Mm-hmm.
So Montessori school, they you know, there's a different method of teaching or learning where everyone kind of like shares and everyone's even, and it was like I loved that experience. But when I went to like regular school, what happened was I got through with my test and I got up and I like went over to like help this other kid because they looked like they were having trouble, and the nun like slammed me on the hand with a ruler, and I got sent to detention. And like I remember my dad got pulled in off the road, and they was like, "What's the problem?" And they're like, "Oh my God!" So it's like
Well,
I always had good intentions.
Yeah, so wait a minute. So she just hit you
Yeah.
and you did something because you didn't know,
Yeah.
and that's how you found out,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like,
it's kind of hard
it's
to
so
like,
ass backwards.
yeah, it's kind of hard to like get along in life, you know. And
That's traumatizing.
it is, and I've had, and I'm glad you brought that up. I've had plenty, because that's the nurture part of the equation, which, you know, I've been able to because I'm sober for a while now, and I don't really think about time too much, because like, you know, in recovery, people can like look at time as like, oh, they got it together, which is true to a certain point.
Right,
but
right.
if you're not working a program, it doesn't really mean much.
Exactly.
But-
Time does not denote wellness.
Right, exactly. But with enough work in the steps, I've been able to be more open to, you know, to those traumas, and I've done some trauma work on myself, like tapping and things like that.
Yeah, I did some
It's been-
EMDR.
Yeah, it's
That
been
stuff's-
it's been
people-
really
listen.
really helpful.
Usually we're addicts and alcoholics because we suffer trauma.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that's for everybody,
Mhm.
but if we don't treat the trauma, and that the thing is, you got to put the alcohol and drugs down
Yeah.
long enough to realize that, wow, I went through some shit,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and it doesn't. And I say it all the time. It doesn't even have to be something that's very, very tragic.
Mm-hmm.
It could be something as simple as getting left at the fucking Little League field.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, those
Like,
are those
for
definitely put
for
an
a
imprint on
couple
your head.
hours. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, not saying that no one ever showed up, but
Mhm.
Well,
I mean,
when
or-
you think about that, what you just explained, that's like instantaneously telling a kid that they are bad.
Yeah.
right.
You know what I
For
mean?
doing
Right.
good.
It's like all of a sudden, I must be bad. I
Yeah.
must be a bad person.
Yeah.
This adult
Mm-hmm.
is not only
This
telling
nun who's like listens to God,
Yeah.
like everything that comes from her is from God.
Yeah, apparently God isn't
Yeah.
good.
she's telling me that I'm bad.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they say that you know, shame is I am something bad. So guilt is I did something bad. Shame is I am something bad. So you're probably internalizing that as shame.
Yeah.
Like I am wrong, you know,
Mhm.
instantly. Like even unspoken or unthought about.
Mm.
You
Right.
know, that's the message there,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Totally.
You don't hit something that's good,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
Unless it's a drum head.
Yeah. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
so now, all right, you get smacked on the knuckles from the nun, and
Oh, like any of those experiences like that, and just like, you know, I mean, more in the nature just I just like, you know, I remember I bought a guitar that I really wanted, and my dad was like, "Why did you do that?" And it's just like so, you know, that plus like my own wiring, you know, just
Right.
combined, man. It's like, and and so like when I started finding relief, my relief came in being by myself, because I just felt like a total fuck up.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
then when the drinking when the
Me too.
booze showed up, and I could do that. I mean, I drank with people, but I didn't even. I could care less who was around.
yeah,
I just rather be drunk by myself. I remember when I was in high school, I worked at this store called Britches, and
did they sell pants?
they sold pants. They were kind of like a. They were kind of like a.
Yeah.
They were kind of like
Britches.
if you took LL Bean and got rid of all the outdoor gear, it was Britches. It was
Okay.
Like, yeah, it was like J Crew or something like that.
Yep,
I
yep.
was just putting shit on a shelf and hanging out, and but
Did
they
you have
had
to
these.
wear a little tie.
No, thank
No
God.
tie?
Yeah, no tie. Thank God. And but so they had these one time they came out with these coats. They were like long black cotton trench coats.
Yeah.
And I bought one. I was like, oh my God. And I used to wear this thing like this in like combat boots. This was my weekend attire. Like that, combat boots, black clothes, which I'm still wearing, black Dickies. And
You're
I would,
describing half of my friends.
I know,
right.
exactly.
and I would go to like the football game
Growing
by
up.
myself, and all the kids be over there like, yeah, you know, like we're going to this party, and I would have like, and basically I'd be walking around with this black coat with a bottle of Jack Daniels that I stole out of my dad's liquor cabinet,
Mhm.
and I'd just be getting drunk, and it's just like, and I would just be sitting in the bleachers and just looking at everybody, and like feeling at the same time feeling superior to them, and wishing I was with them.
Right.
And it was so fucked up.
Yeah.
It's like so fucked up.
It's such a conundrum. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I want to be down there.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be down there. I'd rather just sit with self.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time,
But
like,
as a human, we're communal.
yeah.
Like we need to be with other people.
Yeah, we do, which is like which was a hard thing to come to grips with, because when you're basically, I mean, you're alcoholic and you're just getting relief from the booze. It's like you're not like really going out and trying to look for friends anymore.
Yeah, right.
It's like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't need.
I got a friend right here.
I got a friend right here, and it's like, I could get off the bus and go to the 7-Eleven across the street and take my lunch money and give it to some dude. I mean, talk about dangerous. Give it to some dude walking in the store and say, "You can buy me a 6-pack of beer."
Yep.
And they'd buy it for me, and I'd stick it in my school bag under my books, and then I'd take the bag back, to home. My mom would show up 5 minutes later. I'd get in the car. She'd drive me home. They'd be like going to sleep, and I'm so nervous and rattled, but nervous about whatever test is coming up. They'd go to sleep 9 o'clock at night. I'd just start cracking the beers open and start studying, and I'd study till like 2 o'clock in the morning, just drunk. Go in the next day, like ace the test, no problem.
Wow,
hungover.
that's different, huh?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I needed alcohol to get by. It's like,
Right.
so I think that,
right.
like, because you hear a lot about stories about like, I drank, I couldn't
what's
get
it say?
to school.
Maladjusted to life.
Yeah, it's like I drank so I could go to school.
Yeah.
And
Dude, it seems like we don't know if we're okay. You know what I mean? And we sit there and try to figure out reasons why we're okay.
Yeah.
And then when you use, it's like it doesn't matter if you're okay or not, and that whole question goes out the window because I don't have to deal with real stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what my story was similar. Like I didn't know if I was okay. I kept trying to tell myself I was okay. There was a lot of people telling me that I was wrong and bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things I didn't like, and I was trying to like just avoid that whole thing by getting fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's like all I knew how to do.
Yeah.
It's like, Susie so-and-so was like, "Oh, I don't feel good. I'm going to go for a run," or, I'm going to go compete for the soccer team. And I would try shit like that, and I couldn't make it.
It just wasn't you.
Like, it wasn't me.
Right.
But then I'd be like, I was talking about myself as a kid with that long black trench coat. I'd be getting, I remember going to the doctor I was seeing at the time, because I used to have really bad allergies. He saw my guitar case and he's like, "Hey, you like music?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, my son plays drums." And then he'd be like, I'm like, "Oh, cool." And he'd be like, "Yeah, he plays in this band," which was actually a really popular band back then. And they were opening for REM up in Athens that weekend. And like, I called the dude up and he drove me up there, and I went and saw REM. This is like in 1983.
Wow.
So that's that's like what I got going on. And I tell people that, they're like, "You're full of shit." I'm like, "Okay."
so that happened, and you were like, "Oh, this is it for me."
Yeah, man. It's like, and then
Booze and music.
and then I tried that, and I couldn't even pull that shit off. It's like,
right.
Oh my god,
So crazy.
I can relate to that. Now, when I was using, one of the things that kept me out there for a while is every time someone wanted to criticize me or have me look at myself, I would tell myself that they don't know me because, I mean, I'm not into the mainstream stuff.
Yeah.
I've been a musician since I was 13, playing in music, and I've traveled around the country, and I've done this and done that, and and I would build myself up with all this false stuff. It's real stuff, but it's false too. It's a mask.
Yeah, you're trying to compare.
You're trying to separate yourself.
Yeah. You're
trying to get make yourself special, unique. Terminal uniqueness and stuff. And when I first got sober, I had to put all that stuff aside so I could actually just be bare bones and just be stripped down to and then I had a certain period of time where I just didn't look at all that stuff, and then I came back I was able to come back to enjoy the good parts of me. Did you have an experience like that at all?
I did. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I just when I got sober.
So you got sober in New York, you said, right?
In New York, and I left New York about 4 months after that, and I called my uncle up, and because he was like basically the only family member I felt I could even talk to, and I didn't talk to him about that I'd gotten sober or anything like that. I mean, he's a great dude, and I love him, and he was really helpful to me. But like he's, when I was, I knew him, and then and now too, it's like some sensitive. He was like, he was like a former police officer, and I wasn't sure, like I don't want to like dump all this stuff on him, but I knew, like, at least if I went there, it wasn't where I was then, and I don't recommend this. This is just what I did, and I'm glad I went there.
So he was kind of hard nosed.
It wasn't really even hard nosed. He just, I guess it was just my fears that if I was too open with this guy, that like I'd be judged and be like, no, you can't be here, and
that's
so
just alcohol.
He'd bring your ass to jail.
Yeah, so I just basically kept it to myself, and like, it was great too because I ended up in Temecula, California, which I don't know if anyone knows where that is, but it's down in North Riverside County and Southern Riverside County.
A lot of crystal down there.
Yeah, and I ended up, long story short, I ended up finding one of those Alano clubs. And I started going
like a clubhouse.
Yeah, like a sober clubhouse. I just started going there. Like they would open at 6 a.m. and it would close at like 1 a.m. I would just go.
Yeah.
And I would work when I could, and and that was it. But I mean, I really needed that then.
Absolutely.
I really needed that then. But what happened was like I kept. It was more than that, and I didn't know there was more than that because we were talking about like all these like the longer you're sober, the more you start discovering about yourself and like your patterns and everything like that. Which I feel like at 15 and a half years sober, I'm just kind of like finding out, and it's painful because.
I hear you, dude.
So thank God I have the steps to do because it's painful. It's like, oh my God, it's like, and a lot of people are like, you now go do this and go do that, but it's like, and that's fine, but it's also like a lot of it's like just stay in the steps and clear it out. Because your reliance is on a power greater than yourself, and you'll be guided. I really can say it might sound hokey to some people, but I really can say that I have been guided the whole way, because I know for a fact that even though I've, without any anesthetizing, although I did take medication a little bit along the way, which, I needed
prescribed
to.
by a doctor.
Yeah. Without a higher power, which is how it was when I was drinking, where alcohol was my higher power. That's why we say you're powerless over alcohol. When it was like that, I mean, yeah, I was like doing this and doing that, but it was just like a nightmare, And with the higher power, I can say it's like it's been painful. It's been weird. It's been like there's been times like, whoa, I don't know if this is gonna work. What's gonna happen to me?
What you're saying right now, it's like, yes, we're guided by a higher power. But that doesn't mean that we don't go through shit.
Right. Exactly.
Because my higher power has,
Well, it means we're going to.
Yes, absolutely.
That's really
I've
means.
gone through things so that I've learned lessons.
Yeah.
And everything has happened in my life for a reason. Now. It doesn't matter. You had shared that like you screwed up a bunch of stuff in sobriety.
Yeah.
So have I. Like
endlessly.
Just because we get sober doesn't mean that we don't fuck up.
Yeah. I think I fucked up more sober than I did drunk.
Absolutely.
I always think of it like this. Like they say, you could say life gets better.
Yeah.
Sure. But I don't think it's all that accurate. I think life stays the same. We get
better at dealing with it.
At life. We get better at life.
We get well
Life's
because even if we have our overreaction or whatever like that, we can make amends, which doesn't mean we're going to get something back. It just means we can just make amends. We can realize it's like I fucked up here.
I hurt somebody. I need to fix that shit.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I really am truly sorry. I didn't mean that at all. And
so much easier if you can admit to having done something wrong.
Yeah, it's a real leveling, because then you find out that like that's where the real success is. It's because drinking just basically it just anesthetized me. It's like how can you face anything in life without the alcohol? And if you don't have the steps, you're just going to end up drinking again, because that's why alcoholics go back to drinking, because it's like I don't have a way to language out all my self-centered fears and my resentments,
And
I don't know how to meditate.
And there's so many people who have been there and done that stuff
Mm-hmm.
and stopped
Yeah.
or never got to that point at all that are no longer here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because what happened is like were you done?
No, yeah.
Oh,
go
cool.
ahead, go ahead.
Good. That's what happened. It's like I hadn't had to drink in 4 years. I was going to meetings where there was recovery, and I was doing good, getting my shit together out there in the world, and I had graduated from cosmetology school. I can't even, oh,
Really?
man, when I say that, I
Hairdresser?
laugh. Oh my God. It was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I was just trying to do something, it's like,
Dude,
I'll try this.
Bands have hair.
Yeah,
You-
exactly.
Like you would have.
Exactly.
It would have worked.
To this day, I've assisted in a few salons. To this day, there are people in those salons that say I was the best clients that said I was the best
Hairdresser.
well, not hairdresser, the shampooer.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
hair and doing blowouts. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm like, okay, great. I just like doing it. You
It's
know why?
all
Because it's
good.
like something to obsess on.
Yeah. Yeah, you're an alcoholic. Of
Yeah,
course,
exactly.
you
It's
know
like
what
something. All right,
I mean?
do this shit.
Perfectionism.
But the
you
hair
know?
cutting, I'd fuck that up really. Oh my God. People walk away and be like, I don't quite think that's what I was looking for, but you're all right, sweetie. I'll pay you
Yeah.
anyway. It's
Yeah.
like, thanks.
Just give me some curlers and a blow dryer, and I'll hook
just-
you up,
Just get me
honey.
the fuck out of this chair, and we'll see you later. But I was doing that, and like I had gotten an apprenticeship at the top salon, the top location of the top salon in the Bay Area.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like I was set on my feet, and I fell into like one of the worst black hole depressions I've ever experienced in my whole life.
4 years sober.
4 years sober. And when you say sober, I found out I wasn't sober. I was just 4 years without a drink.
Exactly.
It was just like
4 years abstinent.
it was
4
like
years
this.
without working on yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it's like, I mean, the only way I can describe the experience, it's like swimming along in the ocean, and all of a sudden, out of the murky water comes see this shark mouth, and you're like, I'm gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
And somebody who I knew just said, go to another meeting, please, because I have noticed that when you leave them, when you finish going to a meeting, you do seem better. So whatever's in the air in the meetings was affecting me in a positive way. But outside the meetings, I wasn't doing shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just going out there and going to school.
So you were okay for an hour and a half.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you leave and be like,
yeah. And the thing of it is like I knew I was nervous, but it was like I was kind of like, well, this is just how it is. But what happens is all of that stuff is just building up until you just like, well, I can't. I can't go to a meeting. I'm a wreck.
It's like a pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you do not release that pressure,
yeah,
it's gonna blow.
Yeah, which is why I'm so grateful you just shared what you shared, because that was what I would say was my real bottom, is going to another meeting, sitting in this meeting, being so fucked up, resentful, hating everybody in the meeting who I were all my friends. They weren't my enemies. They were all my friends. And I was just like, I'm gonna leave this meeting and drink. It's like, holy fuck! I was like right back where
Restless,
I started.
irritable, and
Oh my
discontent.
God! It was like it was so bad. It was so bad that like I can still see the room, the way it was. It was so fucked up. I'm just
the emotional and spiritual bottoms. That's the shit that you remember. You know what I mean?
And I think that's what you really need. It's like, so like if anyone's listening or watching like that, if that's what's happening. That's it's going to sound weird to say, that's a good thing.
Right.
Because
it's pushing you to grow.
It is. It's like, because what happened is like at the end of the meeting, somebody raised their hand to share, and they shared about this condition of alcoholism, and they talked about how they were resentful because they had all these self-centered fears coming up in the meeting. And they said, well, so what I did is I wrote it all out and I closed my eyes and I meditated here in the meeting. And while they were sharing this, I was so like amazed. I was like, that's what I got. And they're like, wait, they can't fucking do that in the meeting. You got to like wait forever. And they're like, no, I did it in the meeting. It was just the repeat of the steps, the 10 and 11.
Right.
And then they said, and I'm just sharing this because I feel better because of what I did. And they said, and somebody showed me how to do this 16 years ago when I was getting ready to drink.
Wow.
And
this is Temecula.
And you can get
no. This is up in San Francisco. I basically snaked my way up the coast.
Yeah.
Thank God.
And that's the thing. Like once you do that enough, you don't have to be a slave to the pen. You can do that shit right in your head.
Well,
you know what I mean?
You can.
But it helps to see it in black and white. I actually have an app that it has everything you need.
Yeah.
Like it asks you the questions.
Yes.
This is who you put or what you put.
Yes.
Blah, 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 and go right through it.
Well, you can. And I will say that as a result of doing it on a daily basis, like I've gotten into like when something happens, I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I'm resentful. But I have, for me, and this is my own personal experience, it feels really good, even today, first thing in the morning, to just sit down with a pen and a piece of paper and write out, I'm resentful at whoever because I have fear, and whatever the fears are, and just write out as much as I can. I mean, I don't write for hours.
Right.
Just write out as much as I can and write out a simple prayer and then write an 8-step list and then shut my eyes and meditate for 20 minutes. And I do it twice a day minimum. Sometimes if I'm really feeling like the heat, like the stress, I'll do it a third time. I have early on now what happened was I went up to this person, this lady.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I was going to ask if it was the same.
This is what's so crazy. It was like, because I had a lot of fear about approaching her because it's like, she's a woman. And it's like, men with men, women with women, which I get because, people are people.
Not everybody's treated.
Exactly. And they might prey on somebody. So yes. I'm not saying do it this way. It's just my own experience. But I approached that person because of what they said, not because of who they were or how they looked or anything like that.
You wanted what she had.
Exactly.
That was it.
Exactly. And long story short, I just said, thanks for your share. And she wrote her name down and a phone number and an address. And she said, if you want to do these steps, then come to my house tomorrow. And I was like, well, wow. She shared about her husband, so I'm assuming he's around. So there's not gonna be any like, problems, it's all good. And I was like, okay. And as I was walking away, and I didn't nod or anything. I just kind of looked at her like, and she said, and she had the power to say, oh, and if you don't want to, that's fine too.
Oh yeah.
So it was really up to me.
Yeah.
It was really up to me, and so I went. And when I went, we did the first 3 steps, which were really just admissions of the powerlessness. It's like I knew I was going to drink again. In that meeting, I knew I was going to drink again, so that had been done. And then we talked about unmanageability, and a lot of people say, well, the unmanageability is like, well, my car's in the shop and I can't get to fucking work. That everyone's going through that, but the real unmanageability is between my ears. It's my reaction to life.
Yes.
I can't manage it. It's just like, ugh.
Yep.
Which takes me out of a lot of that. I do have trauma, but like I feel a little less victimized by it when I'm just like, okay, however I am right now, it is unmanageable by me. If I can, in the steps, I take the first corrective measure, and if there's additional corrective measures that I can take, if there's enough power and sanity, I'll take them. I'll try anything once, man.
Do you find yourself getting resentful still?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Less so. But it's different now. It used to be like all the time. I couldn't even like walk down the street without like getting resentful.
It's resentful over the way things are, people's behavior, or the way people are, or the way people treat you?
Well, essentially, yeah, because it's like it's how people are acting. What how this is
you
going
want to
down.
run the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just it's like right there. There's a book. I think everyone knows what it is, where it talks about where the alcoholic is like the actor who just wants to run the whole show, and the show doesn't come off very well.
Yes.
And it's like the show really, it's like a joke. It's like, you're trying to get something going, but you're just trying to plan out like forever. And when one thing doesn't go right, which is life, it's like, oh my God, I'm so resentful. And for the so-called like normal person, they can be resentful. It's no big deal. They can get resentful, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're just resentful," or they won't even talk about it like that. I'm just pissed off.
Yeah.
I'm just pissed off. But it's like,
Dude pissed me off.
Yeah,
Why?
dude pissed me
he's
off.
just a fucking asshole.
Exactly. But like in my experience, it's like, I mean, I've said that, but it's also like, I just have enough experience now. It's like, I don't even want that. I want it out of my head. Whether or not if they did something or something went well or anything like that. And it's like, oh, what did she show me to do? Oh, write it out, write the fears underneath it. Because it's usually I'm resentful at like just thinking about, like today, it's like, I wrote out, I'm resentful of myself because I fear I should have gotten more job applications in today. Just something simple like that. It's as like mild as that sounds, it carries with it a depth and weight of like, if I don't face and be rid of this could be an excuse for drinking. Because what'll happen is
Fear
like
of tomorrow.
Fear of tomorrow, yeah. And it's also like, it's like I've had weird experiences where like I won't take a line of inventory like that because it's like, oh fuck it, I'll just do it later. And then like somebody I know will say, well, I noticed you didn't do any job applications today. And I'm just like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's where it's
there is nothing
it's
worse.
like I'm blaming them, and it's just my own resentment.
There's nothing worse than when someone points out something that you've done that you're already pissed about at yourself for.
Exactly. Which is
it's
that's
so
resentment.
hard to deal with. But
that's resentment. It's
what
like I'm already pissed at myself.
Yeah, and now you're fucking.
And now you're saying, and now I'm pissed at you. Now I'm blaming you.
Yes.
Right.
And it's like, fuck you. I'm out of here. I'm gonna drink.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know what? If I'm totally right in my mind and doing the right things with my mental self and my heart, I will just completely accept the present moment as is.
Yeah.
And be in the moment, because all that fear, anger. Do you believe that anger is fear based? I believe that.
Yeah.
I've
well,
absolutely
yeah.
come
I
to
mean,
believe
resentment
that
and anger are essentially
Fear.
That's
I've come to believe
they
it's
are fear based.
And so, if I'm in the moment, like right now, what's going on? I'm at a table. I'm with you. I just met you. I'm with Chris. We're having a good time on the podcast. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Right.
The fear. There should be no fear.
Right.
Of the future, because the future is some crazy idea that's gonna may or may not happen.
Yeah.
I could get hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Walking out the door.
Yeah.
Right.
And then all those thoughts and those emotions and that fear and those anger and the resentment and all that stuff, they weren't for nothing. And they ruin your health. They ruin your life because you could drink or use.
Yeah.
And so I and part of accepting the moment is accepting me.
Right.
Because I'm okay. I'm just like everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. When I was using and coming up a punk rock kid, and I was separating myself.
Yeah.
And I was trying to build myself up and telling myself that I'm into cooler stuff than everybody else. So I'm like, somehow the in crowd or whatever in my own mind.
Yeah, you just couldn't be yourself.
Right. And now I'm now it's a beautiful feeling to be able to be part of the crowd. That whole thing about another bozo on the bus. And that allows you to make mistakes and to forgive mistakes. Forgive yourself for mistakes. Forgive other people for mistakes.
Yes.
Yep.
Well,
yeah, and I'm glad you pointed it out, because it's like, that's been the main byproduct of doing the steps for me is like I'm less how should I say, I'm less troubled with who I am. I'm just who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
There
I'm
you
not
go.
Acceptance.
Beautiful.
That's amends. That's
excellent.
amends. And when I sat in that backyard with that lady and I took an inventory and I read it to her and I wrote a little prayer, which was.
And you did, just from you sharing, you did this in one afternoon, one day.
Yeah, we just sat for like maybe an hour. See, here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of what happens in recovery is people think it's just a one and done. It's like, I'll do this thing, I'll get cleaned up, I'll go through the steps with a sponsor, and then, I'll just be like,
You'll be good.
I'll think about it at the end of the day.
Happily
what
ever
I did
after.
good and what I did bad. And then, like, every now and then I'll go to a meeting, and just eat some fucking cookies and coffee and then leave. But it's like, when I had this experience with doing these steps with this lady, what happened is like, we got to that 8-step list and I wrote, which is, for people that don't know, that's where I would put things that I just wanted amended, which is more than just an apology. It's like, I just want this shit straightened out.
Yeah. Whether it was towards you or
exactly,
towards someone else.
Exactly. It's just like, I just want this shit straightened out. And it's like, I'm writing it on a list because I don't want to be thinking about it. Just put it on a list. The 9th step, which is where things get amended, she was very clear. She said, now, if there's apologies to be made, of course, make them, but, be sane about it. But she said, where the amends really occur is as we continue in this manner of living in the 10th step. And I went back and I checked, and she was right, because I checked in the literature. I was like, oh, that's right.
Wait. So you're saying that the amends process, as far as I could ever tell, an amends process was to go out and to say you were sorry, or to make up for either or things that you've done in the past to wrong other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Make amends to those we had harmed, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that it's just your sponsor is saying you're just living a better life is making amends, living amends. I guess.
Also.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
in addition to
you're making your amends. You're clearing up that wreckage.
Yeah.
But another part of that is to not live that way anymore.
Right. So
Right.
she was very clear. She said, if there's apologies to be made, then by all means make them, but just be sane about it, because like, not everybody is going to be like one to see your ass ever again.
Yeah.
You know what
Right.
that makes sense. But what really took on a whole new meaning for me was when she said to have more, to really experience those amends, which I got to have in my own consciousness first, because like, you can paint a pile of dog shit to look like, a Porsche, but it's still a pile of dog shit.
Right.
So it's like, in continuing and taking my inventory, I've gotten cleared up in my own conscience. So I'm repeating less what had me in that trouble in the first place. And
Yeah.
I'm also kinder to others and more understanding of others. And
Right.
there's also more power, where it's like, if I don't know, if I did something to harm somebody, I can make a true sane amends. Write them a letter saying, I'm truly sorry for what I did. If there's any way I can make it right for you, please let me know. Yeah, we're not bypassing any of that stuff. But it's like, it was just really enlightening to hear that it's like, oh, it's not just apologizing. It's also like, keep doing the steps so I'm not repeating the same thing. Because like what I was saying, it's not a one and done. It's like, if it's a one and done, you're gonna end up back in the same crap.
Yeah. So,
and then meditating, because that's the 11th step, because it's like,
That's where you're gonna get your answers.
Exactly.
To all
Yeah,
the
because it's
things
prayer and meditation, and the prayer is
but
the
no,
writing.
But no, it's prayer and meditation.
Yeah.
Like for
combined.
years I thought that was what prayer and meditation. It was
Yeah.
one thing. Prayer and
Yeah,
meditation.
exactly. No, it's prayer.
No, it's prayer.
And meditation, which
And
is
meditation.
10 and 11. For 12, which is
sought through prayer and meditation.
Yeah, exactly.
To
So we're seeking
consciously, to improve our conscious contact
with God,
Yeah.
with God.
as we understand God.
Yeah.
We understand God.
Which to me, and everyone has their own proclivities and provision, their opinions. It's like, to me, God, experiencing God is just feeling good.
Right.
I feel okay. And it's interesting you said, like, here you're not feeling like the fears about later or whatever, because really this is a 12 step. I mean, we got 3 people here that are like recovered from a hopeless state of mind and body.
Yes.
Talking about our experiences, gaining strength and hope from each other, and hopefully other people are experiencing the same. So that's why
That could be considered that, but we are not saying that we are affiliated with.
No.
Alcoholics.
Well, so let me clarify that. So it's a group conscience of recovered individuals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just to be more clear, so no one
Right.
gets that confused.
Butthurt.
And that's the thing. Like, you get to that point.
Sorry.
And you.
If I hope I didn't screw anything up.
No, it's all good.
You get to that point, and you've worked on yourself so much that that little voice comes back.
Yeah.
Your
conscience. That's
Yeah.
right.
So like I am because I believe in God. I am God conscious.
Yes.
And I don't care if you don't even have to get to that point. It will come back even if you don't do any work. When you go to do something wrong and you have to hesitate for a fucking millisecond, it's fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
That's your conscience.
Well, you have to
Yeah.
be you have to be self-aware too. Like,
Yep.
you could see yourself getting all. This is what I can do sometimes. Is I can see myself getting all overwrought and angry. Like, usually when I'm driving, I hate driving.
Yeah. Right.
So
Driving up here is fucked up, man. I gotta tell you. I was driving here, man. It's like, what was it, Sumner Street? I took a left on Sumner Street.
Yes.
Dude, if I'd hit that thing like any wider, I would have gone up over the sidewalk. And then
It's
I
a
was driving down
narrow road.
Sumner, and people were like parked on the sidewalk. I'm like,
Narrow
all right,
road.
I'm in Quincy.
Absolutely.
So I mean, just being self-aware is conscious.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
Like, being able to, like, pretend that you're in the corner of the room, floating in the corner of the room, looking down at yourself and go, "Look at that asshole."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Acting
What
as
a fool. And I do that sometimes. I'll be like mad, and then I'll like look sideways and be like, "You idiot."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
act as if
Yeah.
act as if someone's always watching. And,
Yes.
and they see
That's right.
no matter what you do.
Someone's always watching.
And I've heard it around here said many times. You can't think yourself into right acting, but you can act yourself into right thinking.
Yeah.
Like, if you go through the motions and do the right thing because you know it's the right thing,
Yeah.
your
true
thinking's
words.
going to start to change.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it's
That's
fun-
right.
it's-
About what is right and what is wrong.
And who you are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And when when people say the right thing, I always think about it. I kind of translated it as the right thing. Do the right thing. It's like, okay, write out an inventory, because
Okay.
it's like I'm that's what I'm played with, like right and wrong. Well, everyone's played with right and wrong, and it's just like, well, what if, like, I mean, this might be too heady for some. What if there was no right and no wrong? Maybe there was I'm just mistaken about stuff, and I just need to get out of that duality, because it's like an endorsing or opposing. It's like,
Yeah.
but this, that, the other thing. I'm not saying, like,
Our views are pretty
not
skewed.
There are not bad things to do. I mean, people do bad shit. They just do. But
Yeah,
this
there's
is more
pretty
like, like
unambiguous
Yeah.
sides. Like, pretty much everybody could say that, like, hate is wrong and
Yeah.
and love is right. That type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being cruel is wrong.
it is.
And that's the thing. Like,
Inconsiderate is wrong.
we've been set up for fucking failure.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the
without our
world.
own permission.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, just our parents, our family, our
Mhm.
mentors, anything
Mhm.
that has been in our life, just because they believed in something or they were taught
Yeah.
a certain way, then therefore that comes to us.
It's the training of the world.
Yeah,
It's just
and,
like-
and
Yeah.
the world needs a new fucking trainer, man.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
Well, I think there's some
This-
good, there's some
there's
bad.
but
right?
there's definitely
There's good and
a
bad.
shift happening. I believe in energies and all that.
Yeah.
Like, everything's happening for a purpose. But I also know that we have free will,
Yeah.
Yes.
and we can definitely go against what we're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think people get caught up in that.
Yeah, we need
You
a little
know,
discipline.
Like we don't. It's real easy when you're not listening to that little voice all the time to
Mhm.
not hear that little voice all the time because
Yeah.
there's so much other shit going on in our
Oh,
head.
and you get in the habit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it gets drowned out with
Yeah,
like the clatter
absolutely.
of the world of like, do this, do that. Get a new phone. More.
And it's on like
Yeah.
serious high levels.
Yeah.
That stuff. Like
And
it's
everyone's
on
like
stuff
blanked
that
out
we
on
can't
screens
control.
and shit.
We can't control. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
your diet is way more than what you eat.
Yeah.
Like, and if you don't watch that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to affect you.
You're talking about your thought diet, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
anything.
things you
The
listen
stuff you
to.
watch on TV, the things you listen to, the people that you if you're not
People
like
that you're around.
if you're not
Yeah.
like surrounding
I
yourself
don't even
with,
like watching TV anymore.
with good
man.
people, my buddy Dan says it all the time. Shout out to Dan Burke. If you play basketball
Dan.
with hacks, your game's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna go down. But if you play basketball with like high level players,
Mm-hmm.
your game is going to get better.
Well, yeah, because you're and I noticed that the real pros in anything are generally very humble people.
Yes, and they practice.
I mean, I've had the
Practice.
privilege of meeting some serious pros,
Yeah.
like in all kinds of stuff, and the one thread is that they're very, very humble people.
Yes, and like there's a lot of influencers.
Mhm.
They call them influencers now out
Yeah.
there that are very humble
Yeah.
and just like down to earth, chill
Well,
people.
Yeah.
humility is a gift. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And most arrogance, I mean, is false arrogance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Trying to prove
Most
yourself.
people who are just cocky and overconfident, it's just because they're scared.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and humility
Yep.
to be like, okay, I'm just gonna do the best I can,
Mhm.
and that's gonna be good enough for me. You know,
Mhm.
and if I don't get everything I want, then I'm still gonna be okay. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
mean, I know that sometimes there's life or death things, but just believe that God's gonna help you accept things, the power to accept the things.
Yes.
It's so freeing to just be like, okay, I'm me. I accept me.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm okay. Like,
Yep.
I'm going to do the best I can.
Yeah.
And otherwise, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've, I believe in that too, but I've let that limit myself. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, I'll just be okay with this, and then
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
You
You
can't
know,
settle for less.
yeah,
That's right.
I don't want to
There's
settle for less either.
Oh, me
You
too.
know what I mean?
It
Like,
just-
I
Settle
want to
for less.
fucking knock it out of the park every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll do my best to do
Yeah.
so. You
Yeah.
That's
know?
right.
Of course, and it just
But your best is going to be good enough.
Mm.
yeah, and that's
Yes.
and again, to fall back on what I was sharing, it's like I go through that a lot, and like that's when I'll usually, again, I'll just sit down and just write out
Mm.
those resentments and those fears. It's like, why am I blocked? Why am I blocked from this? It's, what, and eventually what happens for me is like I either just forget about it
Right.
and I'm not troubled by it anymore, or I'll get just some inspiration. They talk about that in literature, just a moment of inspiration, like, oh, I never thought about trying it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I've never even thought about that.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, and less fear about going for something that you really desire out there in the world, but like for me, like a lot less arrogance about it. It's just like,
yes.
this is just something I want to experience.
Yep.
For myself.
And you don't have to be a dick about it.
Exactly.
You know, like,
Exactly.
And if I can drag some people along with me to experience it as well, let's go.
Yeah, it's
You
just
know
more.
what I mean?
It's just more honesty. Like right now, it's like I'm really wanting to learn how to repair guitars,
Yeah.
and I just actually put in an application for a couple places, you know. And it's like people that are listening, they're like, "What does that have to do with being sober?" Well, it has a lot, because like for years I was just doing jobs, and there's nothing wrong with doing a job to make a buck, but it was like that's all I was doing.
Right.
And it was just like endless, like I've just quit jobs, and people are like, why are you always quitting jobs? And it's just like, I don't know. I hate working, but I don't hate working. I like working, but I just don't know what I'm doing.
You just haven't worked at something that you really are passionate about,
Exactly,
or care about,
exactly.
or has,
Because
like,
there was too much
made you
fear.
Feel, yeah,
There's
made you feel good.
There's a lot of, you know, for myself, there's been a lot of fear about just doing something that I'm passionate about, and because I'm always like, or I'm less so now, like thinking like, if I try it, what if I fail?
Oh yeah, afraid to try it because you might fail.
And that's
real.
That right there is a trait of an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's so much.
Perfectionism.
It's
If
so
I
much
can't
easier.
do it perfect,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking do it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
so
And
much
I
easier
don't
not
know
to do
how
it.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
do it, so
yeah.
I'm not even gonna put myself in that situation.
I'll just, yeah,
'cause
exactly.
I don't want to feel the failure.
Yeah, I'll just go do something
Yeah.
I know I'm good at,
Yeah,
which
and
is
that's
just
the thing,
some
but
bullshit.
fucking
and
fail,
Yeah, exactly.
fail. You know,
Yeah, because the only real
Fail
failure
forward.
here is
not trying. Yeah, right.
Fuck it, what's the use?
And imagine if
Drinking,
like
using
imagine
dope,
what our world would
whatever.
be if people gave up after the first time they failed.
It
so
wouldn't be much
many-
of a world.
Would be in caves.
Yeah. No fuego.
There would be no planes.
No fire.
You know, there'd be no planes. There'd be no cars. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like succeeding is getting up after your last failure.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's not doing what you want. It's like you know what? I'm gonna try it again.
Yeah.
Right.
You
No,
know?
it's true.
Yep.
It's taken me a long time to get there, man, but I feel
and
like I'm finally
you know,
fucking
it's
there.
like I've been here since I got here. So like I didn't know anything about treatment, recovery, nothing.
Hmm.
So like when I hear someone share about relapse and like what they went through, like I really have to pay attention to that. You know, like
Yeah.
when someone says it was so hard to get back here.
Yeah.
That's what I fear the most is I
don't want to be that guy.
how hard it was to recover. I know how strong addiction is,
Yeah.
and I'm afraid that I'd never get back. Then that's, I don't want to even try my toes in the water of anything that
Right.
could possibly get me back to anywhere near that place that I
Right.
was
Yeah.
in. Because it's too much. It's too difficult. It's too strong. It's too real.
That's why I stay involved. I stay connected.
Yeah.
You know, I volunteer at places because I need to be
Yeah.
immersed in this stuff.
Yeah. I go
you
to
know?
I go to more meetings now, 15 and a half years into being recovered, than I did when I was like, 3 or 4 years into
Yeah,
this.
because you
I-
like meetings.
Yeah.
Well,
I
yeah,
like 'em
because it's
too.
like
I don't
I
go,
feel
but I
good
like
there.
'em.
Absolutely.
It's like why wouldn't you go there?
Right.
It's like I don't know. It's like
Well,
it's like being a
is-
hockey player and not going to an ice rink.
Right.
Life
It's
is
like
tough.
why wouldn't you go? Yeah.
Life is tough.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes people can't get there. That's why.
Yeah,
I
we
just-
get there
I
when you
don't-
can.
That's
you get there when
why-
you can. I'm talking about getting there when you can.
But that's why
yeah.
we do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You
So
know?
we-
I never fail to do this.
Yeah, well, that's
So
like,
that's a good
well, yeah, that's why it's like when I was asked, I was like, fuck yeah, I'll go.
and
I mean, why not?
like, dude, imagine if we just stopped after the first couple times we had like snafus.
Yeah. Oh my God.
yeah,
We didn't know one thing about any
No,
of this.
Nothing.
I mean, to me, it looks like you guys got it all
You know,
together,
and
man.
he
I'm
comes-
jealous. I'm like, how the fuck did they figure
He's
this
like,
out?
hey, and that's the thing. Like, he'd get on the phone or stop in. Hey,
Yeah.
we're doing this, we're doing that.
Yeah.
What do I need to do?
Yeah,
Right.
You know, if
YouTube and Geek Squad. Shout out to the Geek Squad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Squad.
Ask everybody about, Google, Mike Dell from Blueberry, on the phone with him, going to screen capture. Oh my God, there's so
Wow.
much, just
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know?
like we wouldn't. That's why we do this, because if
Yeah.
what if someone can't get out? What if
Yeah.
someone is so crippled with fear,
Yep.
Yeah.
that they can't leave the house? Do they not deserve to recover?
I that was me once upon a time. So I know they're out there.
And
And
you know,
if they're
they can
listening,
hear
I'm
this.
glad they're on.
Yeah, they can hear this and realize, wow,
Yeah.
you know.
And who's to say I won't get back there? It's
Right.
like it's just
Exactly.
It's not like it's like gone and it'll never happen again. But like it's like practice makes perfect.
Yes.
It's like I know what to do. It's when I'm in that state.
Yep.
It's just like take an inventory, meditate, go somewhere to be around recovered people, or get on this podcast, or
Yep.
get on a phone meeting, whatever, man. Cease
Get
fighting if there's a
involved.
problem.
There is so
just stay in the middle of it, man.
yeah. There's so many vessels to get this now.
So
Yeah.
many avenues to recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Which
know,
is a
and-
good thing.
Like
Yep.
someone that can't afford to pay a babysitter. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That they
Yep.
can,
Mm-hmm.
throw the kids at the table with some friggin' nuggets and fries and
Wind up the old computer.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, pop this in. Like I talked to some people and they're like, I have over an hour ride to work. Thank you for like,
Oh, that's great.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they get to listen to
Good stuff.
this.
Yeah,
you
man.
know?
I didn't
Yeah, this
put
is
one
better
out.
than the 93.
I'm going to
I hope.
apologize right now. Last week I didn't put out a podcast where I should have. I should have put one up on iTunes, but I didn't. It's all ready to go. I have no idea why I didn't. I really don't know, but I didn't. So
Whatever.
probably
Shit
tomorrow
happens.
night.
Shit
Tomorrow night
happens.
it'll
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Shit
But,
happens, man. It's the
Anyway,
holidays and
we went an hour.
All right.
yes.
Yeah, we did it.
That was fun.
Yeah. Thanks, Vince,
Yeah, it
for
was a
coming
good
on.
one.
Thanks,
man.
Chris. Thanks,
Um,
Tom.
You know,
Thanks for
and like
coming
we
on.
always
Yeah.
say, if there's anyone that feels they want to share their story, 100%
shout.
message us.
Yeah.
Message us personally. Message us through the group itself. We definitely want to hear from people.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
And also, if anybody knows anybody who's an audio video file and wants to come on board to the team to help us out,
Yeah.
we would love that. We really
we
need
think
somebody
we got what's going on, but
Help these guys out.
I am I want to remain teachable.
I mean, we need to get a presence on Instagram. We need to get
Yes.
a presence. We need maybe go on Periscope. We need to maybe have some videos out there that we chop up and edit and make into some cool stuff. There's a lot of avenues we can go down.
Yes.
And
we want this to grow. We
yeah.
want this.
Yeah.
We would love
Definitely.
to do more with it. So if message us on the page or whatever. And thanks a lot for listening, guys. We love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning
Love
in
you.
every week. LOLTerms.com.
Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Boom and that.
All right, you too.
All right.
Thanks, man.
That was great. I hope that helped.